You know, it seems like negativity spreads like wildfire. Personally, I love to watch the news, but I also hate watching the news. The first 30 minutes seems to be filled with all the negatives of the world, and then they save the small 10-minute segments to highlight some good. My actual numbers may be off, but it's definitely safe to say that at times it can be depressing to watch. We all have been guilty of spreading negativity at one point in time. Think of the many rumors you hear about celebrities, your friends, and even your family members. Many times we'll keep the rumors going without thinking twice about feeling guilty. In tip number 28, I talked about how testimonials in the speaking business can help establish your credibility. Well, in tip number 29, I'm going to talk about how they can salvage your credibility as well. When it's time to take the stage, you can't afford to have an off night. You should have had ample amount of time to prepare. You should know your content like the back of your hand, and you should be ready to deliver. Every audience won't be forgiving, and even if the majority of the audience seems to give you some slack, there'll be a few out there that will be amongst your harshest critics. The one time you have an off night, word can spread like wildfire because if you don't know, conference organizers talk with one another. They make suggestions to one another, they relay information to each other well before you're able to introduce yourself to a future client. If you aren't already a highly sought after speaker, it can be hard bouncing back after a negative review. Many speakers work years to establish themselves to a point where they can afford a couple of mess ups. But that lifeline isn't for everybody. If word gets out about a negative performance before you've had the chance to introduce yourself to a prospect, you most likely will go up against being looked over. The speaking space is extremely competitive, and a bad performance can easily eliminate you from future contention. Although you can overcome them, negative reviews can really hurt you. An article by Local Solutions posted last year, it stated that one negative review drives away 22% of prospects, or around 30 customers, with 3 negative reviews driving away customers by 59.2%, and 4 negative reviews increasing your lost customers by 70%. I'm pretty sure the more research you do, you'll find the numbers vary, but the point is that as a public speaker, you can't afford to have those negative reviews if you can control it. Remember a few tips back I talked about there are things that you can't control as a speaker, and then there are things that you can control as a speaker. It all goes back to the preparation, content, and delivery. That's in your total control. But you have to take it seriously and honestly think of it as your one and only shot. As human beings, we tend to gravitate towards the negative. When it's casted on us, it's hard to get out from under that shadow. Even when it's untrue, it can still become a stain on your reputation. Working to get rid of that stain is very hard to do in the speaking business. And with that being said, understanding the importance of gaining positive testimonials versus the damage of gaining negative testimonials will push you to do your absolute best every single time you speak. There are speakers who rely on getting their next gig through a word of mouth and are very successful at it. That means before it's time to present their keynote, they've realized that they have done absolutely everything in their power to make sure it will be delivered successfully. They've thought about the content, the strength, and delivery. No stone was left unturned, and they know that if their audience can continue to vouch for them, they'll continue to shine. Remember, when others can speak positively on your behalf, it can take you even farther. But when they speak negatively on your behalf, it can push you to the back of the line, which is a long line of speakers waiting and itching to get what many of them feel is their one and only shot. If you found this tip useful, please like it and share it. Comment on it as well and let me know what you think. Until next Monday, my name is Julian Leonard, and this tip was brought to you by the J. Leonard Group.